right? As you grow your company, another year, it's another victory. And it's making that to that next victory. And wrestling teaches you that, right? And I think one reason that I've been able to excel our business is a lot of the lessons that I've learned from wrestling.
Hey guys, welcome to the Set Apart Podcast. My name is Oscar. I'm the host of the show, and today we have a super special episode. As you notice, we are not in our normal studio. We are here at Kongkrete Wrestling Academy with Jason Goff, Coach B, and Coach Cater, and we have something special for you guys, because what these guys are doing, not only in Miami, but in the wrestling community, is something worth documenting, which we've always said, part of our show, that what we're doing at John Bell Construction is worth documenting, but most importantly, what you guys are doing and what Jason has been able to start here at Kongkrete Wrestling Academy is worth mentioning. So we're happy to be here. Thank you for having us. And you know, why are we here? Like, how did we even get to this point? That, because he was telling me, I think Coach Cater was telling me that a few months ago there was like a Mustang parked right here, yeah. And then now we're like, you know, and actually like, you know, an academy. So talk to me about that, Jason.
So it was almost on accident, right? It was, I grew up wrestling. I wrestled at a high level of high school, never went to college. Decided to take a separate career path, right, with becoming a fireman and get involved with the family business. But originally, I just wanted to put my kids in wrestling because I love the sport of wrestling. And it started from being hey, I want to be a father. I want to step back. I want to watch these coaches coach my kids, and I want no involvement. That didn't go as planned, right? So I had no vision of opening a wrestling academy. That's for certain. I had no vision of getting involved in anything like this. But it just kind of happened naturally, right? I came to meet Coach Cater. Coach Cater came in to the gym that we're at over by the Falls, which is really close to my house, a very convenient place, beautiful gym. And I was skeptical about Coach Cater, to be honest with you.
Me too.
And I think I asked everybody, including Coach B, hey, what do you know about this guy, Coach Cater, you know? And I came to fall in love with Coach Cater because of his passion for the sport and what he did for the kids wrestling program while he was there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Him and the owner didn't see eye to eye. I tried to mend that fence for a long time. You know, like I said, I had already got involved too deep, and I took other steps to try to get another coach to replace Coach Cater, which was very, very difficult. As a friend told me, I kind of doubled down and brought in Coach Balmeceda to this gym. And that didn't work out either. For the same reason, ironically, which we won't mention, but it worked out for the exact same reason that Coach Cater left.
But I think you're forgetting why you brought me into the gym.
Because...
in high school?
Yeah, so in high school, great point.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody really to train with.
You too.
I didn't, right? So I was
we're not the same age.
Yeah. So I was at a...
I'm a coach, he's a wrestler.
We're close, but he's way older, right?
Yeah. At least 20 years.
I think we're sitting in age order, by the way.
Yeah, no. 30, 40, 50, 60?
I know he looks my age.
Huh? Yeah,
I know it's a little bit confusing, but go ahead. He was a high schooler.
I don't dye my beard. He does, for sure.
I do. Just for men. Sponsor me. Just for men.
So I had nobody really train with to push me to the next level. It was kind of a really weak wrestling room at this private school that I was going to, which happens to be Westminster Christian. And Coach B welcomed me in his room. So I'd get in my truck every day, and I would drive down to South Dade just to train. And he welcomed me in with open arms.
And he was, was he a coach?
He was a head coach at South Dade.
And you were a player?
And I was a wrestler. All right? We don't say players.
We're not players.
Wrestlers.
I'm a baseball player. All right, so wrestlers, all right.
And he welcomed me into the room with open arms. And the funny thing about Coach B is he's very, he doesn't look very approachable. When you get to know him,
super approachable.
He's
like the most approachable person I know.
But if you see him at a wrestling tournament or in the wrestling room, right, this guy walking around, very serious. Mm-hmm. And he's very focused. And when I learned about him too is that he's so obsessed with the sport and with winning, specifically winning, that it completely takes him like to another portal, to another dimension.
I can relate to that.
So by bringing him into the gym that my kids were at, it was basically giving them the opportunity that I wanted, right? Which was for him to be my mentor coach to help lead my kids to the next level. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, right? For the same reasons that Coach Cater left. Just some bad issues at that gym, right? With the ownership, leadership in that program. And I was tired of kind of not having a program for my kids. Now there's a the most successful youth program in Florida happens to be Coach Balmeceda's assistant coach's personal program called Gladiator. The problem for me with Gladiator was it was so far from my house. So with my career, having to leave here.
And where was that at?
It's in Homestead, right? So it's literally the last exit before you go to the Keys. And that program is phenomenal.
That's a good program.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. And that's my assistant coach running it. And it was hard for me to get my own 2 sons down there.
Because it's far down.
Because I live in Kendall as well. And after being in school all day and then, leaving school and having to come back and then pick up my kids and then go all the way back over there,
There was a need.
as beneficial as it was, I'd go home and that couch would be calling my name and I'd fall asleep and stuff. So I understand his reasoning for like not wanting to go all the way down there. It was even hard for me, and that's my own assistant coach, and I know how valuable it was.
So it started out kind of a little bit, I'm going to say a little bit selfish, right? To say, hey, if I have an opportunity, right? We own this warehouse. It's really storing stuff because we have it, not because we need it, right? So I had a Mustang in here. We had a bunch of parts.
Hold on. The Mustang was yours?
Yeah. So we had a bunch
Retro Mustang that he drove in high school.
Yeah. We had a bunch of parts in here, stuff to just keep out of the weather. And we weren't really utilizing it. So I said, hey, Coach Cater, by the way, I left out an important part. I was so dedicated for Coach Cater to be successful at the old program. And he was living in Pembroke Pines, he was working in Deerfield, right? Or Delray. I hired him, so he works for Florida Concrete, right? I didn't know what
practices at times. It was like too far. 2, 3 days, couple days, I would call, hey man, I can't make it. Traffic's killing me.
So he said, hey, I'm gonna. Well, then just work here.
No, he brings him to the concrete company.
But Florida Concrete,
yes.
right. Florida Concrete is like right next door.
next door, right? We're in the same building.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like so I said, hey, well, you can't make it. Well, then just work with us during the day,
Right.
so that you're here for practice.
So he's in Miami, and then he can go to make practice. So that was an important part of the aspect, right? So when him and the owner had a falling out, I was kind of like stuck between the convenience of the gym being so close to my house, and then now he's working for me, right? And at the time when I hired him, I didn't know what the hell what he was going to do, but we had to figure it out, right? Because it was important for me, it was important for my kids. So then he ended up going to another program and really started building that program because, man, the parents and the kids love Coach Cater. They love him, and he's not an easy coach to deal with, right? He's a screamer, he's a yeller. There's going to be a lot of F-bombs. There's going to be a lot of, hey, you suck. You got to be tougher, right? You can't back down. There's going to be a lot of that tough love that you're going to get from Coach Cater that you come to appreciate, right? And then the parents, even some of the most laid-back parents, come to appreciate his tough love.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm that guy in my world, by the way. Yeah. But years down the line, they'll appreciate it.
That's right.
So from the outside, coaching against him or seeing him, from afar, you would not think that he would have as much appreciation from parents as he does and the following that he has because he's so rough around the edges and so tough and loud and but man, the parents buy into it, and he's loved and followed by many and loyal parents and wrestlers that they appreciate that,
Okay, what do you think that is, though?
I don't have the slightest idea.
That's about the most accurate thing.
Let me tell you something. He has a wrestler right now, Willie White. His dad used to wrestle for me. big old time school. You know, it's like that's a guy that I was able to beat up on, and I mean cross face and yell at him, cuss at him, and he'll show up the next day, man. Keep working.
What do you think your goal is, though? What's the goal? Because I have a goal. You know, as you know, I think we're all four of us are leaders. We lead in different capacities, and I know what my goal is. But what's your goal as a wrestling coach? What are you trying to get out of?
You know, I get more privilege of guys graduating, and about 2 or 3 years later, sending me a letter or a text. Hey, man, if it wasn't for you, I'd be selling drugs somewhere in the city. And I think I showed Coach, one of the kids when I was coaching at Norland, that if it wasn't for me, he'll be, you know, doing drugs and gangbanging, and that's all I need, you know. And I have a lot of kids like that, you know, that come back and roll around with us, you know, and that's all I do it for. There's no goal. Goals are long gone, you know.
Personally.
Yeah, personally, it's just like helping out the guys, you know, get them going, get them to the next level, get them to college.
I think it's crazy because we have like two different dynamics. We have the old school. Would you consider yourself new school?
I know I mean,
Hybrid.
I'm not much younger than him. I remember Cater coming into our room when I was in high school, and he's big and jacked up, and they bring him in to wrestle, and I wrestle with him, and I don't know if it was 10th grade or 11th grade, but maybe I get a lucky takedown. I don't know, but I get a takedown, and in my mind, and he could have let me get the takedown. I don't know, but in my mind, I'm like, man, if I can take down this grown man right here, I can take down anybody. So, like, him just being there and wrestling with us and against us and looking the way he did and knowing that he went to college and wrestled, and then me being able to take him down, whether it was him letting me take him down or not, made me feel like I could beat anybody. Do I consider myself new school? No, but I do have, I could say that I started coaching, my goals were a little bit different. Like, I'm a perfectionist and a little bit OCD, and I didn't win state as a senior. I started wrestling in 10th grade, you know, and that's late in the game nowadays, especially now. And
Yeah, 10th is because right before we got here, there's like, how old are those kids?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they'll be wrestling
3-4 years
longer
old.
than I wrestled my whole career. Like, by the time I 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, went to college, wrestled 4 straight years, did in redshirt, so I had 7 years of wrestling.
That's it. These kids, by the time they're 14,
By the time they're 12, they'll have more experience than me in wrestling, which I wish I had, and that's why we're doing what we're doing right here. Anyway, so when my goal,
I think it's important.
getting out of college was to, I didn't win state, was to just I want every kid that I coach to feel the feeling that I didn't get to feel. And
So how many times have kids? Wait, how many kids have won state under your leadership?
Bam.
This for the state of Florida. How many?
I think it's. I think I have 70, 78, 79.
There's 79 before this year.
79
State championships?
before this year. This year we had, what was pretty cool is we had 10 kids out of 14 in the finals. So it was like South Dade against the rest of the state.
I think that's crazy.
Yeah, it was cool. Very cool. Very cool.
It looked
But-
like a dual meet, yeah.
So our goals were a little bit different. Mine was a little bit more like I just want to win. I want the kids to win, and as
You
many,
love winning.
Yeah. I just like winning. Yeah.
What do you think you tell kids in terms of like not only winning but more importantly like losing? What's your idea when if I were to, my son's almost 3, he comes in a couple years, like how are you ingraining winning into his brain? Because would you agree that life is not about like wrestling? Like I don't think that you guys are teaching them like essentially wrestling, but more importantly, like you're trying to teach them to win in life. Like what's your like goal for this person that they're 40, 50 years old, they look back and they're saying, hey, we got Coach B and Coach Cater. Like what's the goal that you guys have?
Work ethic. Don't let them quit. Keep pushing.
you're not doing it purposely. Like wrestling itself, the sport of wrestling, like imitates life itself, and life is going to be hard, and it's going to knock you down, and you got to get back up. And in wrestling, you're going to lose, and you got to get back up. And there's going to be things that you fear, and kids are afraid to walk out there on the mat, and they're wearing some skimpy little singlet, and their mommies and daddies are yelling at them, and they're in front of a whole crowd, and they're terrified. And if they get through that, like, that's going to help them later on, like when they go to get an interview at a job, or writing the essay, or taking a test to get into a college. Like if once you, like Dan Gable said it, one of the best coaches in college in wrestling history. Once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. And it is, because wrestling is so demanding, is so hard, and demands so much discipline. I mean, it's the only sport where you compete. They give the football players pre-meal games, while wrestlers are running outside in the parking lot, cutting weight, losing weight, starving themselves to get on the mat or to get on the scale, to then make weight, to then weigh in, eat and drink a little bit.
But at what age are they doing? Are they trying to make weight?
Why?
Yeah, like what's the youngest age that someone's trying to make weight?
Yeah, you shouldn't be. Yeah, I wouldn't encourage it to do it as 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 years old.
Like a normal age. What would you say it'd be?
13.
Yeah.
But the amount of discipline that's required, for someone to, like, because you're saying, like, you show up, like I say, I grew up being a baseball player. We show up, we're having fun, and we're just like, we just go to, like, we go to play, and there is a discipline involved, but it's not like.
Well, I don't know about Vic, but wrestling it's fun, but you're out for the win.
Hey, immediately you have to be winning, because if you're cutting weight, you're not eating, you're running. Like, it's not about having fun. It's about having fun and winning. Or
After
having
you win.
fun. Yeah.
After you win,
It's hard to have fun without winning.
Once you lose, it ain't fun when you lose. Just gotta get back in there and do it again.
Yeah, it's when you lose, when these wrestlers put so much effort and time and struggles into making weight, cutting weight, trying to win, and then they lose, I'm telling you, it's the most devastating thing.
You're telling me that
Emotionally.
The other day, your kids,
Emotionally.
your kids were like in Michigan the other day, and
Yeah, and they got their ass whipped, and it was emotional. And the reason I'm saying that is, I don't ever remember and I played baseball for a while. I played football for a while. I don't ever remember crying after a loss. It was always somebody else's fault. And when you step off that mat, there's not a single person you can blame other than yourself. And that's what I love about wrestling, right? There's no politics involved, right? There's no, hey, this parent donates X amount of money and his kid's 125, my kid's 125. No. We're going to wrestle off, and whoever's better will start. It's not about politics. And that's what real life is all about, right? Real life is all about getting through struggles, overcoming adversity, and winning. Because life is about winning. Every day that you wake up, right, is a little victory, right? Every day that you move on, like we talked about, every year in business is a victory, right? As you grow your company, another year, it's another victory. And it's making that to that next victory. And wrestling teaches you that, right? And I think one reason that I've been able to excel our business is a lot of the lessons that I've learned from wrestling, from this sport. Because, like Coach P says, you will put your back against the wall. It will break you to your knees to the point you want to quit. But if you have the balls to get out of bed and come back into this wrestling room, then you'll probably be a winner.
On the mat or in life?
Both.
Both. It imitates life. That's what I said. It imitates life. It's.
I'm gonna ask you guys something. What do you think it means that Jason has started this academy?
It's like a blessing. It's like it fell out of the sky to me. Like it's. I couldn't be more appreciative of it. It's given us a platform and an opportunity to to give back to the community. I'm highly successful in high school, and I've reached all the goals that I wanted to reach. I've won 25 state titles and had 70-something or 80-something individual state champions. Both of my sons are on full rides in college. But this situation here is giving me a new platform to work with other kids who may or may not come to my school. That's not the goal. I'm making kids better. I'm seeing kids prosper from the ages of 4 and 5 years old, which I never thought I would really appreciate that much. I'm helping kids become better wrestlers, even though they may compete, they will compete against my wrestlers this year. So
When you say you're wrestlers, it's because
I mean
South
my
Ridge.
high school wrestlers.
South Dade.
So I'm I'm still at South Dade. I've been working there for 30.
But you don't care about that. You're
I
like
don't.
holistically as like a person who loves wrestling, a person who like wants the kids to like really learn about the life lessons that this mat and these 4 walls teach you. Kind of like almost don't care about like, if my kid on the mat is not as good as yours, well then, let them, let them fight it out.
Then I'm not doing my job as good at South Dade as I'm doing here. And there was times, and I learned it from my assistant coach because he started our kids club, and it's not a kids club that just totally feeds South Dade High School. Kids wanted to come from all over the county, and there were times where kids from other schools I'm like, man, one day, this kid's gonna end up wrestling this kid in the round to go to state, and we may not win. And it's so be it. But may the best man win. Now, a lot of times it worked out in our favor at South Dade, but it didn't always work out, and it may not work out in this situation either. But at the end of the day, you're helping everybody, not just selfishly helping the school that's going to help you win. Yeah, you're and iron sharpens iron, right? And if we make the kids better that possibly are going to other schools that are in our same district, that are in our same region, it's only going to make our kids at our team or my kids at my team better.
Tougher.
So.
Yeah, it just raises the bar and of the competing level. What we get in here, if they don't learn anything from Coach B, they're wasting their time. I mean, if I was in high school and somebody was around, like at the time was, even if it was you would come in here and work. How are you gonna get better if you don't wrestle the best? And there's no doubt about it. Right now in high school, he's the best. Numbers don't lie.
And that has been for a long time. Didn't
it
happen
doesn't lie.
last week,
I was looking at the website and it was like, I don't even know. I was like
your mouse runs out of battery scrolling down, right?
Yeah. And I think you also won like how many? The Miami Herald said you were Coach of the Year. What, like 20 years in a row?
And 18 times, 21 times.
So however many times we won state in a row, that's how many times? I don't know. No, not in a row. No.
B,
no.
let me ask you a question. Like,
Yeah, it's
how
been
do you?
18 or 20 times. I don't know.
Who do you think? Like, where did that come from? At least, like, I want to ask Coach Cater, but you, like, who in your life taught you? Because no one really taught me that winning is the most important thing. A lot of people, as a kid, they taught me that the playing was really important, and being in the game was really important, and like showing up was important. And they would say like, oh, showing up is like half the battle. But like now growing up in life, I realized like showing up doesn't get you anything. Like showing up doesn't pay the rent. Like,
I think that's the difference between our generations right there.
Exactly.
The participation trophy and hey, showing up and just doing your best, and that's what's tough.
Who taught you that? Where did you get that from?
I don't know if it was taught or if it was just self-learned. If it was arrogance and just
There's got to be something.
wanting to be the best. I just wanted to be the best. None of my family went to college. I was the first one to go to college from my family. And
Where did you go?
First I had to go to junior college because I didn't get a high enough test score. And then I went to Appalachian State. Again, I only started in 10th grade. Had I had the experience, that my sons had, our coach, like Coach Cater or myself, that would, if I would have wrestled since I was 7 or 8 years old, I think I would have been an NCAA champ. Or if I can go back and wrestle in college with what I know now. But I honestly think that not accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish in high school and college makes me a better coach because makes me hungry.
I think that's why we're all four here.
Yes.
I feel like the reason that even for me, like the podcast and the company and everything that I do, I feel like my parents were immigrants, like my parents came from Cuba. Like, I feel like if my dad really had the opportunity that I had, I think my dad could have, I always say, like, I feel like my dad could have been like an engineer or an architect, and he was sweeping floors, and he ended up becoming a jeweler. But I feel like all four of us have a lot in common where we realize that we're not like in this pity party of like we didn't have the opportunity, but more like we didn't have the opportunity, so we want to make sure that the kids that do have the opportunity and the people that do have the opportunity, can like really, really, really make it. Because one thing is to make it, but one thing is to like really, really make it not only in like on the mat. Because if you ask, Coach B is like, hey, I started wrestling at 10th grade. Like some of these kids today were 4 years old. Like if those kids really apply themselves, by the time that they're in, junior year of of high school, they can be getting a full ride to an incredible university, growing without debt. Maybe because a lot of these kids are growing up with a lot of debt. They can't buy a house because they're paying student loans. Like they don't realize what they're doing on a Wednesday night can really impact their life.
The thing I noticed in Florida, tradition is big. I'm from a lot of tradition of wrestling up in Jersey, but down here the club scene didn't start till not too long ago. How long is that?
The little, not even club, like little kid wrestlers didn't really exist. I graduated in '89 and I wrestled a kid in the finals who happened to be a kid wrestler. I chased him down, like I watched Vision Quest too much, and the Vision Quest, the movie, like the guy chases the state champ, right? And I thought I could chase the state champ. He was a 2-time state champ, ends up being a 3-time state champ. But I chased this kid down. I could have wrestled at 140. I cut down to 135 on purpose to wrestle, because if I could beat him, then I would be the 3-time state champ, right? That's that crazy, kooky, mind frame of mine.
I'm glad things have changed.
And he whooped my ass. Hold on. I forget what the question was now because. But anyway, I forgot the question.
Listen, the ring that you're having is like blinding my eyes.
Sorry.
By the way, what is that ring that you have there?
This is state title.
Which state title is that? Which one of the 20-something is that?
This was 14-time state champs. I wear it because it matches my watch and my outfit. I have gold.
How many state championships did you win personally as a wrestler?
As an individual wrestler, 0. That's what I'm saying. I lost in the state finals to a 3-time state champion because I chased him down like
how many state championships do you think that it will take you as a coach to ever fill the void of not winning one individually?
Endless. It hasn't filled the void yet. It hasn't filled the void yet. What?
I'll be honest. I feel like that's why you're still here, though.
I understand. I know. I know that winning the state titles and these kids, like having 10 kids in the finals last year, and they're all wearing white South Dade uniforms, and it was so impressive. But seeing these kids that go to South Dade, like I think I have 4 or 5 kids that I've coached at South Dade right now, being teachers, kids at Marines. Nurses, like seeing them come out of the South Dade environment, the rural, lower economic status, becoming the first kids of their family to go to college and get degrees and stuff. A wrestling coach, you're never going to be rich, monetarily rich, but I'm definitely rich with the feeling that I've changed lives and made a better community and help other people make better lives and better families for themselves. So that's what makes me rich.
No, there's something, I feel like there's something about like wrestling. I grew up playing baseball, like I told you. I had never wrestled. My parents didn't let me play anything other than baseball. They always felt like I was going to get hurt, and which is ironic because I ended up getting hurt. So I played so much baseball that I got hurt.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's true. I've been throwing for a long time.
Yeah, throwing a ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Gator, I had asked him what this gym meant to him, but like I feel that, I'll be honest with you, I feel like it means a lot to you.
Oh yeah. When the other place didn't work out, I checked around a lot of places, wanted to open doors. At the time we were building, we built a really good kids program that, some people, come over here, So I ended up somewhere closer towards Broward County where I live. So we went up to Southwest High School and built the program there that, the middle school guys started coming in. The kids program started picking up. But
Which, by the way, is my alma mater. So
Yes.
my alma mater is now our biggest rival in the county that he was helping build up. So this is what's cool about this dynamic too. We never had any animosity towards each other. There was never. I don't know why it would be so surprising that we would team up. But now that we have, I think people are going, uh-oh, what's going on over there? So
Listen,
continue.
the rumors there's not rumors, but there's like, people talk, like you guys together. Like, why is that such a big deal in the wrestling community?
I don't know, man. We're both passionate about the sport. I'll be lying if we don't want to win and we don't want to see our kids win. We're lying. We're lying to ourselves. Every time.
70 years of wrestling experience together. I mean,
literally, pretty
right?
much.
And what his strengths are, some of my weaknesses are, and vice versa. And so we play off each other perfectly, to make something very successful. He attracts people. Where if kids are kind of like back at the old gym when they would start to leave from the jiu-jitsu practice, I wouldn't step up and make them, no, you have to stay. Like I felt bad. Like they
kind of wanted them to do the thing.
No. Come on, get your asses back over here. No. Like I need someone like that, and someone that's talking to parents, and someone that's.
So as a parent that really doesn't know anything about your sport, I'll be honest, I have zero idea about your sport other than that you guys wear like tight clothes. What's the difference between all these type of there's karate, there's jiu-jitsu, there's wrestling, like if let's say you're talking to me, we've known each other for a while, what would you recommend for me to put my son into?
Wrestling. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
There's no other better feeling that you could go out there and physically beat the shit out of people.
And and there was a point in time just recently, UFC is the toughest people on the earth, and I don't know if there's 5 or 6 weight classes or championships, but all 5 people, their base was wrestling. Now, there's never been a time where all 5 have been jiu-jitsu or karate or, don't get me wrong, karate and judo and this and that. Any contact sport's going to help you with wrestling, but wrestling is the foundation, the base. And there was a point in time where jiu-jitsu, and I didn't even know it occurred. It happened 12 years ago, and all of a sudden these kids were getting good in Matter Lakes and Somerset Academy, and I'm like, hey, where did these kids come? I asked my assistant coach, Humberto Reina, hey, where are these kids coming? No, they're jiu-jitsu kids. And I'm like, when did jiu-jitsu become like, when did it help wrestling? Because there used to be where
Do you feel like
they
in
would
between
grab
sport-
on each other and they would jump
The-
into
the
the
thing
guard. They
about-
would jump
But
under
in
the
between
back.
sports, is
bad
there
thing
like a competition between like karate and
the good thing
jiu-jitsu
about
and
the
judo and all
jiu-jitsu-
that?
Merging a little bit. They realize jiu-jitsu realizes that wrestling is going to help you. So they've actually tweaked the rules of jiu-jitsu to simulate or emulate wrestling. I missed that part, and all of a sudden these jiu-jitsu kids are becoming really good at wrestling because they do scramble and they're not afraid to go across their back and this and that, but they're actually attacking. I fought a guy in Iguanas, Cafe Iguanas, and the guy talked me into fighting him. I know it's going a long way back. He's like, hey, I do jiu-jitsu. I know you do
No, a
wrestling.
long way back is an understatement. We're talking about iguanas, a nightclub.
Exactly, it is, dude, on a long way back. All of a sudden, we get ready to go fight each other, and the guy just starts throwing himself on his back. And I'm like, what kind? And he wants me to jump on him because he knows I'm a wrestler, and he's going to try to twist my arms off and stuff. But we actually have boxing gloves
Because
on.
wait, hold on, as a wrestler, you
We
can't
actually-
you can't put your you can't be on your back.
No,
you
that's
get
the
pinned.
worst place
Yeah.
you can
Bro,
be.
I'm a baseball player here.
He just
I'm a baseball. I don't know what I'm.
He just throws himself on his back and he's waiting for me to attack him on top, and then he's going to try to twist my arm, and I'm like,
Hold on,
what
this-
is
this-
that? He
I'm gonna
wouldn't
be
even let
honest.
me take him down. He wouldn't
Coach
let me
B,
punch
listen.
him.
Slow down.
That was funny.
There's
That's pretty funny.
There's a listen.
I brought it back to Iguanas.
Listen. There's
And the
like
guy
a.
talked me into it too. I'm like, yeah. all right,
Listen,
let's
focus
go.
here. Listen. There's a like a life lesson on this mat, right? And then there's like a sport lesson on this mat. But aside from those two things, like there's also like a fight lesson on this mat, you know, and you know, like they say, like shit happens, you know, like, and that was like a kind of like a competition, like an iguana, whatever. But
Or in just real life fight.
But
yeah.
in a real life
And
fight,
you know what's really cool is girls are wrestling now, and it's the most growing sport in Florida right now, and girls in the country, and girls are learning how to wrestle, and they're going to be able to defend themselves too. To anybody that it's amazing to watch the girls wrestle because
do you have any girls here yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
With
yeah.
some badass girls.
Yes.
Yeah, one of them just took second in the country this weekend.
What?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, took second in the country this week.
Caitlin hasn't been coming on a regular basis, but Caitlin
But she won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's very
incredible.
cool to teach.
Has the sport evolved in that
Yes.
sense?
Oh my God, the sport's so different than when I was. I remember coming in and watching.
Hold on, I have a question. Don't forget to remind me about I want to ask you about your ears.
Oh yeah. So coming in back into the sport that I was away from for almost 20 years.
Give me my closer back.
You know, you're used to we had this conversation, me and Coach Cater had this conversation yesterday. Spin drills and these old school warm-ups and, right, the old methodical way of running a practice. And then when I got exposed to Coach Cater and then Coach B, then, 20 years later, it was totally different. I was almost lost, right? I mean, I still feel
Mentally?
yeah, just with the way wrestling's evolved. Like there's a lot of things that are going on in wrestling that didn't happen when I was a kid. It didn't happen when I was in high school, right?
I mean,
Like
it's evolved. Yeah.
right, it's evolved so much.
ever-evolving.
So hold on, you're saying like when you came into like not to the sport because obviously
No, when
you've been in the sport, but
right,
like,
when my
what-
kids started to wrestle,
you realize that there's a big
I
change.
said, "Oh shit, there's a huge change. Wrestling
Yeah.
has evolved. It's evolved. There's a lot of things that you're doing now in wrestling that wasn't happening before. A lot of ideas and concepts and ways to train that help, like the speed drill, right, with just warming up, right. If you do that drill accurately, it's more cardiovascular intensive than live wrestling, right. So certain ways just to become a better athlete, a better wrestler, at even a lower impact. I mean, it's just the sport's changed. It's evolved. Like everything has.
Yeah, I feel like life has evolved.
Yeah.
So, can we talk about the ears a
The
little bit?
cauliflower ear? Yeah.
What's it called, cauliflower?
It's called cauliflower ear.
So my brother-in-law, he's a firefighter, and he just started jiu-jitsu, and he has like massive cauliflower, and it's
He just started.
he started like 2 years ago. But I'm talking about like this thing is like completely swollen.
Yeah. He might have done it on purpose.
But I feel like all you guys do it on purpose. Why
No.
is that?
I mean, first of all,
Why not?
Having there's a lot of great wrestlers that don't have cauliflower, right?
So what is cauliflower?
It's just trauma from two heads colliding and your ear being in the middle. Simple.
Your ear can hit his hip.
Your cartilage breaks.
Your cartilage. You bang your ear and there's the blood swells and there's liquid cartilage in your ear and then it forms and.
Is it prestigious to have it?
Is it what?
Like prestigious? Like is it like a sign of like not of honor but of like?
Yeah, I would say it's a badge of honor, right? Like you could be anywhere in the world and another wrestler or it could be a jiu-jitsu practitioner, or it could be a boxer, right?
Because you can drain it, right?
No,
Drain
not
it.
when it's stuck. That's it.
When it gets hard, it's hard. But
Yeah.
if you drain it, it gets better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
It's
hard
not going.
job.
It's not going anywhere. So it's a trophy, right? It's a badge of honor. You could be anywhere in the world and they say, "Hey, you used to wrestle." I've never gotten the question, "You used to do jiu-jitsu?" It's always, "Did you used to wrestle?"
Really?
It's kind of odd.
Boxers get it too, though, by the way. Anyway, anyone that gets it, they've done some kind of combat, right? So, like, I think that I'm pretty sarcastic and,
Yeah, I
I'm not
noticed.
super, tall and big. And I think my ears gotten me out of a lot of trouble or a lot of fights.
It's
Because they'll
a
check it out and they'll
deterrent.
go, wait, yeah, maybe I'm not going to mess with that guy. And then, that would be my advice to everybody else.
Your ears
Check
are like
out their
perfectly.
ears, right?
Like you have beautiful ears.
I got some. I just drained and fixed it a long time ago.
How do you
He
feel
does,
about
he has
that?
some. He
Yeah.
has it right there.
Yeah, touch them. How do they feel?
Hard as a
How
rock.
does his ears
No,
touch?
it's hard. It's the way it's supposed to be. You wear headgear and you don't get it.
What was the
So
question?
if you're saying like, do you get it on purpose? I mean, if you wore your headgear every day religiously, you would not get it. But it's a pain in the ass to wear that headgear, and it bothers your neck, and you break out in pimples, and you just don't want to wear the headgear.
Yeah.
And then your ears bang, and your mommy's like, I know, puppy, no.
You think it's worth it?
And then you get it, and then yeah.
I think when you're committed to the sport, absolutely.
I feel like
right?
it's anything in life, like anything that you give your 100% at, and anything that you sacrifice at, like I feel like there's always like some sort of collateral damage. And
Yeah, like a pitcher in baseball, eventually he's going to get Tommy John surgery, right? Probably because he wants to get it to make his fastball faster, but he's going to throw hard enough and long enough. If he stays in it long enough to where his tendon's going to rip, right? So it's basically the same thing.
Jason, if somebody wants to wrestle here, what are the rules? What are the ages? Prices? We've discussed a lot in terms of this is a nonprofit.
Absolutely.
Let's start with a nonprofit. Why is this a nonprofit, and what does that mean to you?
Because honestly, wrestling is a poor man's sport, right? It always has been. I talk to some of the jiu-jitsu dads that have only done jiu-jitsu, and they go to these tournaments. Some of these tournaments, $150
Yeah.
entry fee, right?
Yeah.
Like our tournaments are $20 to enter.
And besides, if they lose, it's done.
Right. Right. You lose one time in jiu-jitsu,
done.
one time you're out, right? In wrestling, you at least get two chances. And if it's round robin, you might get your ass kicked 6 times that day, but you're gonna have to get your ass kicked 6 times, right? But it was $10 when I was a kid, right? And it's only $20, right? And even getting a USA Wrestling card, I think is $30 now or $35 or something, right? And it was like $20 and it's a whole year, right? So wrestling's always kind of been a poor man's sport. Anybody can do it. Anybody can really afford it. And the reason that this is a nonprofit is flat out because we'll never make money, but it's for a good cause, right? And the idea of setting this up was to help get the coaches enough money, right, to stay motivated, to keep them coming back and keep them wanting to train kids, because it's all about the kids and the coaches. It's not about the parents. It's not about winning titles, right? It's about evolving these kids and keeping these coaches here to train these kids to be better athletes, to be better wrestlers, and to be better people in life, because everybody's heard the saying, right? The uncoachable kid becomes unemployable. Right?
It's kind of hard to lose and then have to get up and shake the guy's hand.
Right.
And there's been a lot of times where my kids are like, "Arr, get back out there, shake that hand."
It's a lesson right there. It's a
valuable
lesson you have to teach.
You got you win with respect. You got to lose with respect. got
And I feel
just
like
sportsmanship.
But that doesn't really like exist a lot in nowadays. Is there a lot of nonprofit wrestling academies in Miami?
No, I mean the only other nonprofit that I know of is there's a couple. I think Southridge is nonprofit now, right? But
This is what I appreciate about what Jason has done. He's made it a nonprofit because even though this is his bay on his business, he does not want to make any money. He's not in it for the business. He's in it to make kids better and making sure that we get paid and making sure that we can go on trips. So any donations, the fees are directly going to us. It's not. There's no rent fee. There's no overhead. There's no, you know what I mean? So the money is going directly to the people that are working. We have a beginners coach too as well, who's starting with kids 4 and 5 years old. They're going to be monsters, and that's what is so generous and so nice about this situation is that, again, we don't have to come up. We're not thinking of how we're going to pay the light bill and the water bill and the rental bill. It's paid for. We're just getting the kids involved and enjoying what we do and what we do best. And it's amazing situation here. So I think that the whole nonprofit thing is nonprofit for concrete, concrete, unlimited concrete unlimited. It's to pay the coaches and to make sure that the kids, come out with the best situations that they can.
well, it's allowed us to, right, to assemble what I believe is one of the best coaching staffs of all time. So we have a beginners coach, like Coach we mentioned. He's an NCAA runner-up in college. Right, so he's a national finalist. He's All-American.
That's what I saw this morning?
You saw earlier. He's a 2-time high school state champ, and he was probably one of the most feared high school wrestlers, right, because of his style and his aggression and how.
And if you saw this guy wrestle against high school kids, he was a high school coach. He was a maniac. He was the most brutal high school coach with his kids. Nothing illegal or nothing, just a tough, mean coach. And then to think of him as a kids coach, he comes in here, and I don't know if you've seen the movie Kindergarten Cop, where he comes in and big, giant, big hands, and then the nicest, most patient guy with little kids that are, when you're coaching 4 and 5 year olds, it's like herding cats, and you're trying to place their hand where they, and to see him, I just witnessed it. To see him do that, it was hilarious because he was completely opposite when he was coaching high school kids, and it's amazing, So
we assembled the best coaching staff possible, right? You have Borgen coaching these young kids, which is a household name in South Florida. And then you have Coach Cater and Coach Balmeceda coaching the intermediate and high school kids. And it's a blessing, right? It's a blessing, but for me, it's an honor, right? Just to help establish the program and to build a house or a vessel, like we talked about, for these kids to better their wrestling career. And hopefully it evolves into a college scholarship, or if it doesn't, hopefully it evolves into a great career, right? Because that's what it's all about. We're building. We're not trying to just build champions on the mat. We're trying to build champions in life. Because at the end of the day, you can win all the championships you want on the mat, right? But you want to really be a championship in life, because that's when this hard work and this discipline pays dividends back to you.
I want to mention, if you went to most wrestling gyms, academies, it doesn't look like this. Wrestling is a miserable, hard sport. You go in and the gym smells stank. It's dank. It's wet. The humidity. You go into my high school room. I went in yesterday and it just smelled like a animal farm in there, right? He turned his bay into a place where the parents can sit over there and it's like, I like to call it like a wrestling boutique, right? It's still going to be rugged and tough, and you're going to still have three hardcore coaches that are coaching you hard. But when you walk in, you're not miserable because, you know, the AC's on. There's air conditioning if you need it. There's fans. Well, sometimes the AC's on, but like, wrestling's hard enough as it is. But when you're sitting in an environment in a place where you know, it doesn't look like a dungeon. You know, everything is nice. It just is a different feel, you know. So he put a lot of effort, a lot of money into something, and didn't mind one minute of us spending money because he knew in return he was gonna get a lot out of it when it comes to kids progressing and bettering their lives and all that stuff. So we really appreciate. Like, I walk into here with great pride because it's such a good-looking, it's the best-looking gym that I've been in.
Listen, is that hand-painted?
Everything's hand painted, yeah.
This like, it's not a wrap or anything like that?
No wrap. There's no details anywhere.
I think that's incredible. Like, you know, the podcast name is the Set Apart Podcast. You know, I feel like I was telling somebody today that I feel that we've been, one thing is to set yourself apart and be different, but one thing is to be like set apart, you know, like, and I feel like this academy has been really called to be set apart, where there's a lot of people in this industry, like in terms of wrestling, and the United States in total, where this is not a big gym.
No, not at all.
But I feel like this gym can do big things, and it looks amazing. Like, it just like I always tell people, like, it doesn't matter what we're doing as a company, but if we can't have the right website, we can't have the right business cards, we can't have the right logo, we can't have anything. Like, it's all about like our brand, and we never want to create a distraction for the things who we are by the things that we don't have, you know? And like, I think kids that are like 4 or 5 years old really want to, can you imagine a 4 or 5 year old kid? Like, if I bring my son here, he's 3 years old, and sees this big, ape, a silverback on the, like, they want to be here. Right. And I think that,
Super important. It is super important.
I think it's really like, it goes, you get so like lost in the sauce sometimes, where like, you said like, turn off the AC, like, and it's like wrestling. Like, sometimes you have to kind of like, that is part of what we're doing here. But you also want to have a good time. Like, you want to.
Well, we want to be different. And it's important that we're different because wrestling is very one-dimensional everywhere.
We're still recording? Okay.
Wrestling is very one-dimensional everywhere. So I feel like what we're doing here is so different.
Why is it so different? What do you think really sets you guys apart?
And the atmosphere, for one, right? I think, like you said, branding is super important. Branding, as you know, is super important to me at Florida Kongkrete, right? We want our name, our logo, what we look like, the color of the logo, everything. The trucks, the red cabs. We want things to be specific and different than everybody else. Yeah. And I carried that into this program with these guys' help, because the bottom line is what we built is different. And it's not about the brand, even though the brand is very important, right? But it's about these guys. Because this program was set up for them, right?
No,
they're the owner.
This podcast is for both of you. Right. Me and Jason did this podcast already, and we didn't air it because you guys weren't in it. And that's the truth. And when we finished, I said, how do you think it went? He goes, I'll be honest with you, I felt like, Coach Cater and Coach B should like kind of be in it.
Right.
And I feel that what you guys are really doing and how set apart you really guys are from the wrestling world and what you guys are doing in the United States, it's worth documenting. And I think that it's extremely important that if you maybe have a son or maybe even a daughter and you think of, man, what's something that I can really do for them? I think, I'll be honest with you, I'll probably put them in wrestling before I put them in baseball, because the tendencies that I've seen his kids have and I've seen the kids here have and the life lessons that they have, because at the end of the day, life is not really a team sport. And I've learned that later in life, where I felt like I was the best person and I thought I was a pitcher. At the end of the day, like, life is very, very difficult. And I feel every single day that I wake up, I'm on the mat, And if I lose like it's hard to get up. And
You get back in here, you keep working to get better.
and I feel like
That's-
that as a
that's
business owner,
Yeah.
that's kind of
It's
like
the same thing.
it's the same thing. So
It's literally the same thing. Yeah, get up we take losses every day in business, right? Take losses, so we try not to, but we get a lot of black eyes. We take a lot of losses, and you got to get back up and get in there, right? Because people rely on you. And when you own a business, people rely on you to eat. People rely on you for the paycheck on Friday, right? And you're letting a lot of people down if you don't get back up, right? And now, in wrestling, the only people you're really letting down that if you don't get back up is yourself, right? But you learn how to get back up, right? And you learn how to overcome that fear and walk back in this room. And like I told my boys this weekend, I said, listen, you get back in that wrestling room and you hold your head high. You got your ass kicked this weekend, right? But you're going to learn from it. And you're going to wrestle when you come back in this room like you've never wrestled before, right? And you're going to fight to overcome those losses because those losses are done, right? And we take a loss on Tuesday. We got to get back up on Wednesday.
yeah, and I think that like you being a wrestler is the reason why Florida Concrete Unlimited is where it's at.
100%.
And I think, me personally, I really appreciate everything that you've done as not only as a business owner, because that's important, but honestly, like as a person, because these two guys, you see it, like if it wasn't for the platform that you have and what you've been able to do, I don't feel like these guys can really like almost like serve their purpose like in life, and what you're doing is a lot bigger than what you really think. And I think that's something that sets you apart, and it's one of the biggest reasons that you're on this podcast, because I feel that we all have our story. We want to be set apart, but sometimes we don't really know how. And I think it's important that we kind of like really push through, and when life kind of like knocks us down and we kind of get swiped at our knees, that the next day we're back on the mat and that we keep pushing, and hopefully we have coaches like these guys that can kind of remind us and continue to push us. So if you want your kids to be in here, Kongkrete Wrestling Academy is out here, West Kendall. It's worth the drive. It's worth everything. Like Coach Cater here is, driving from, almost Broward. Is it in Broward already? It's in Broward. But it just comes to show you how important that mat really is, not only to the sport, but like in life as well. Because as we kind of leave, the principles that we learn in these academies and we learn in these tournaments will serve for us for the rest of our life. So we appreciate everything that Jason Goff has done, everything Coach B and Coach Cater have done for here, but also in the wrestling community. And I know that you guys really don't realize the magnitude that you guys are leaving here in South Florida. So we really appreciate it, and I hope that you guys were fortunate and blessed enough to watch this episode. If you were, really appreciate if you can subscribe, like, share this episode, and really feel and understand what can really set you apart and push towards it. Because at the end of the day, every single day that we kind of walk through the mat and we kind of like struggle, and like you said, you get swept through your knees, another day comes. So just keep fighting and just giving everything you got. So see you on the next one.